The engine is starting up.
For launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
go. Pending final steps to cabin link check.
3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the R.I.F.T Nation Network. I'm your host, Joni Skinner, for Mysteries Beyond the Scenes. We are streaming live tonight on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, Twitch, and YouTube. Please don't forget to hit the like button and share, please. Welcome, everybody. How are you? I hope everybody's having a great evening. We are having a stormy evening here. I just looked outside. We have a couple limbs down. One is stuck. So, we had quite the storm. So guess what, Lee? It's coming at you. So button down the hatches. Is that what they say? Button down the hatches? Yeah, we had about 60-mile-an-hour winds, but no sirens. So that's a good thing. No sirens. I'm happy. I'll take storms. How are you guys this evening on this wonderful Wednesday evening? I hope y'all are doing good. Hello, chat. Hello, Miss Denise and Kathy, Miss Lois, Miss Tammy, Miss Lee. I hope y'all are doing well. Just here for a bit, then back up on the roof fixing loose roofing. Oh, get that done, Tammy. Get it done. Hi, Jan. How are you, hon? And Miss Linda and Keith. Get that stuff done, Tammy, because I know y'all have been having storms. We're having storms, and you got it. I'm going to have to try to figure out how to get that limb I think I'll just call the HOA tomorrow and tell them a tree got hit. It wasn't lightning, because we would have heard that. Maggie Noodle and I would have heard the lightning strike. We heard a lot of lightning, but we didn't hear it hit a tree. So, but we're safe, and we have electricity. I thought, oh, please don't go out there for the show. Please, 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 not the show. So, hi, Cindy. How are you? I hope y'all are doing well tonight and staying safe. And if you're in this storm zone, please be careful. Hello, Keith. Thanks for sharing. Hi, Linda. Hi, Jan. Welcome to another series of Mysteries Beyond the Scenes. And welcome to our Rumble people. Please rumble if you're in the chat. You know, if you're on the live, please get into the chat. You know, we've got YouTube and Facebook, but we would love to have our Rumble family join in with us. You know, we're getting views on Rumble. So, you know, it's our new platform, and it's a new platform, but we're getting, you know, 70, 80 views on there for people, and that's wonderful. So I'm glad they're tuning in. This is Mysteries Beyond the Scenes for our new folks that have never tuned in, where I am a forensic astrologer. I take missing persons cases, true crime cases, and I combine the forensic astrology, which is like mundane astrology or event astrology, and then comprise a map out of the math, which I'm going to show you tonight. Boy, this case, I'll tell you guys, I know y'all, I know you had to follow this over the weekend, like everybody. And I don't know if you all got coverage, Canada, because I know your coverage is kind of limited from down here, but this received a lot of coverage. This was a horrific homicide. And and the perp was out on the loose, which is very, I mean, how frightening for people in the Minneapolis area to know that this maniac, psychotic monster is out on the loose. So, you know, good police work, good effort by law enforcement. They got him. I don't know if it was the FBI got him. I'm sure it was a combined effort from all, you know, law enforcement, but they got him. And you know how they got him? Because this story has changed tremendously since Saturday. He was caught on a wildlife cam in the woods, and then subsequently a lady had gone down the road, and I'll show you guys this area. He was in a farm about an hour away and out in the middle of nowhere. And it was a $500,000 spread of a farm where the family lived. And a lady went down to her neighbor's about a mile away to get an address book. She was pulling out of the driveway, and sure enough, she saw him going through the field. And she thought, well, it's probably law enforcement because they're going around checking houses. Well, she was very alert. She noticed he was by himself, and then he crouched down. So she said, I freaked out, went home, called law enforcement. So that's how they finally got him. Thank goodness. That's, you know, Lee, I'm going to go through this because there is so much. Wait, I'll show you what I have found. There's a lot of stuff that's going around, you know, how things go around. I like it when the true crimers on streamers cover these cases because of the fact they get the info. They get boots on the ground and they get the info. The media never gets these things right. Never. And nobody watches them anyway. Everybody streams like JLR. He's boots on the ground. He's always covering true crime. True Crime Network is always covering stuff like this. And they're always covered. They get the info hours before it breaks, like on any mainstream channels. I don't even call them media. I wouldn't even give them that. But a lot of people on the internet dug up a lot, which was very interesting. I don't know, Lee. That's iffy. I'll show you what I found, and you can come up with what you think. I don't know. It's bizarre. It goes. This is one of those rabbit holes that is so bizarre. And I'll tell you, you guys know that the charts, the forensic astrology, and I use, like I said, Kirsty McIntosh, who taught me from Australia. She has books. She's got a YouTube channel. She is the best forensic astrologer in the entire world. And I mean world. She's the expert. And I have seen people go away from her teachings and kind of try to tweak it a little to call it their own. And then they call it forensic astrology, and it's not. So when I use Kirsty's method, which I don't sway away from, the charts and the mapping is about a 99% accuracy rate with a chart and a map. And if I've got the correct information, you can bet that map is going to find somebody. But there's no doubt in my mind. And that 1%, I'm going to say, is usually my error in math. It's usually my math. Whoops, wrong date. But other than that, I don't know. No, I don't think he was. No, I don't think he was. Let's get into it. Let me show you what I found, and you guys keep an open mind, because I think we're not going to hear anything else about this, or we're going to hear more. You know what this weekend, and I hate to say this, but you know what this reminded me of? Do you remember when we did Butler, PA, and with that Crooks guy, and we're like, wait a minute, why did this guy have 2 encrypted phones and was talking to people overseas, but yet we're not hearing any info on it? Why is this? There were, and then you hear, oh, that's conspiracy. No, it's not. It's a question. And if there would be transparency, you wouldn't have people guessing. So, but the police in this case, they did a lot of pressers. They were very open, actually. And I think law enforcement is shifting. I've seen a shift with true crime being so popular and it being on the internet so quickly that if they don't get out and tell people, then the rumor mill does fly, like it did on this one. But this, I don't know, this has shades of it. And I want you guys to tell me if you think I'm right or wrong, but I don't know, you guys. It's bizarro world. It's so creepy too. But let's get started. I'll tell you what I've found out, show you guys the charts. And let me tell you, I was so frustrated, and Keith will even acknowledge this. Like, I don't know if it was Saturday or Sunday. I think probably Saturday. I text Keith and I said, the charts are not lining up. What is going on here? I'm getting timestamps. They said he was at 2 a.m. and then at 3:30 a.m. And the chart it's not hitting. The map isn't mapping. Well, he went to 4 houses. So when I did that map, what do you know? So see, they didn't tell us that he had gone initially to 4 houses. That came out in the criminal complaint. So let's get started. So as many of you know, and it's so tragically, Speaker of the House, Melissa Hortman, on the left, and her husband were tragically unalived. Senator John Hoffman, who the monster went to first at 2 a.m. on Friday night, Senator John Hoffman and his wife were shot a total of 17 times by this man. And what happened is his wife jumped on top of his daughter, and in that, she was shot, I think, like 9 times in the arm, which none of her organs were hit. His injuries were a lot worse. However, they're both recovering, which is absolutely wonderful. Now, Melissa Hortman and her husband were not so lucky. So it's just a tragic story. So let's get started, and I'll show you guys the oh crap. Let me turn this down. I'll show you guys what I know so far. So let's get started. So there they are. Rest in. And let me tell you something about Melissa Hortman. Was the Speaker of the House in the Congress, in the legislators of Minnesota. He was a senator, and they had just finished their session. Friday night, they had gone to a wonderful event, dinner, and everybody saw each other that evening at their event. They all were out late. They all saw one another at the event. So that's where they were on Friday night, went home, and tragically. So here we go with, okay, so what had happened, and this was a big, huge mess in Minnesota. Let me turn this notification off if I can. This was a big, huge mess in, I can't get it off. Let me see. Okay, there we go. So this was a mess in Minnesota at the end of the week. What had happened is, and this is kind of what got the rumor mill started, is the fact that the Speaker, she was the deciding vote on the budget. They were working on the budget, and the undocumented immigrants, illegal immigrants, that she had voted to stop the Medicare. And that was the deciding vote. And there is an actual interview of her. She's in tears. She knew this vote would make people angry. And the people in the legislators were angry. He also voted against it, and they both went against party lines. She said a leader has to step up and do what they have to do. And, you know, if you think about it, how many times have we heard the immigrants are not getting health care? Yes, they are. They voted against to cut it off in Minnesota. So we know now that all of the time that you've heard they're not getting health care, they're not getting Medicare. Yes, they are. Yes, they were. So that disputes that rumor. Yeah, they were, because they voted on it. So that started a flurry that possibly this was politically motivated, because there was so much to do about this vote. I mean, it was a big fight. So as we can see, now we know he went to 4 homes. Okay, I thought it was 2. They told us it was 2. And then, but you know, the time frame never made any sense with this, because of the fact he was at the senator's home at 2 a.m. and then he went to the Speaker of the House's home at 3:30 a.m. What happened? So he was up at the senator's house at 2 a.m., shot them. The daughter called 911. Okay? We have an unsung hero, you guys, in this that nobody is talking about in this shooting, okay? The supervisor heard that there had been an assassination attempt on the senator. The supervisor instructed people on duty. It was just like it was a decision, a snap decision, okay? Do wellness checks on all of the congressional and Senate people. Let's do wellness checks on them. Now, can you imagine? This guy had 5 AKs in the car. Had that law enforcement supervisor not came up with that decision of, hey, let's do wellness checks on everybody. Let's make sure everybody's okay. Can you imagine what would have happened in Minnesota? Talk about an unsung hero. What a guy. So what happened is he went to Champlain, shot them, went to a place called Maple Grove. Maple Grove, the congresswoman and her family were not there. They were on vacation. He went to the third place called New Hope. They didn't answer. No, the third place, he was scared away by police. You got to remember, the police are starting to do wellness checks. So he pulls up to Brooklyn Park, which is where the speaker and her husband lived that lost their lives. Now, what I got in New Hope, check this out. In New Hope, and he was parked. Another cruiser went by, and the female law enforcement officer pulled down her window and tried to talk to him. She thought, because he was in a police car with lights, had on the vest, as we all know, he was dressed as a police officer with this silicone mask. It's so creepy, you'll see it. I mean, I freaked out when I saw it. But she tried to talk to him. He looked straight ahead, did not respond to her. She left. She went ahead, went to the house in New Hope to do the wellness check and waited for other officers to get there. By the time they had done their wellness check, okay, he had gone. So he turned around and went to Brooklyn Park. So it's like unbelievable. So that's the story, but that was an unsung hero. The guy that said, hey, let's do wellness checks. Oh, and so we'll get to, as soon as we get to Brooklyn Park, we'll talk about that. Here are the ring cams from the Maple Grove residence where they were on vacation. Okay, couldn't get in. So this is another home he's at, ring cameras. Now, this is Brooklyn Park, where the speaker and her husband lived. Now, while he is standing where he's at, okay, the police pulled into the driveway. He turned around, he's still in the front yard, opened fire on the police. They fired back. He got inside of the house and unalived the speaker and her husband. Ran out the, now this is a 57-year-old, big, out of shape man. Walks with a limp, okay? Takes his mask off, drops his 9mm, escapes out the back door, and evades police. He's missing. Okay? He's missing. So, did he have another vehicle? Because he's already left his vehicle that he's got in the driveway, which is the police car with the lights. So there he is, and there's that creepy silicone mask. How creepy is that? It's like Okay, here he is. His name is Vance Bolter. There he is now, the picture on the right is the Ring camera that caught him going down to his roommate's house, because now we've got a roommate. We've got a wife and 5 children that live an hour away on a $500,000 sprawling house. They bought 4 other properties. Now remember this, from 2020 on. One of the properties is a $65,000, looks like a church, I don't know, type place in Iowa. Okay? So, but the picture on the right is the roommate's house where he allegedly stays a couple days a week. This story just keeps getting more bizarre and more bizarre as we go along. This is the front door of the speaker's house. So clearly you can see where the police had opened fire on him. Then he escaped out the back door onto a golf course. So this is the roommate's house. There's Ring footage of him going in front to get to another vehicle. The roommates were asleep. Okay, he stayed there 1 or 2 nights a week because I could never get that story straight. Why he stayed there, I don't know. So that's the roommate's house. So we've got a Ring camera. That was at 6 in the morning. Okay, that was about south of Minneapolis. Not too much far. It's considered Minneapolis. Okay. Now, so let's fast forward. We're going to go west about an hour. And on a dirt road, they find the cowboy hat that he had been wearing and a Buick, another car. The story goes now that since he's been caught, we have now found out that he evaded police from the golf course, got to a bus stop, saw a guy with an e-bike, bought that for $900, and took the e-bike down to the roommate's house to get another vehicle. Now, that's what we're hearing, okay? There's allegedly people on the e-bike that saw him, okay? They released text messages that he made to his children. Dad went to war last night. I don't want to say more because I don't want to implicate anybody. Words are not going to explain how sorry I am. There's going to be some people coming to the house armed and trigger happy, and I don't want you guys around. Okay, that went to family members, one to the wife and to the family members. So on Saturday at 10 o'clock, his wife was pulled over 90 miles north with passports in the vehicle. The rumors were $50,000 from the bank, but then in the complaint, they found $10,000 cash, passports, and bang bangs in the vehicle. She apparently cooperated with the police, and she was detained and released. They are not saying anything else except the fact that this is an investigation, but she was released apparently with the family. Now she cooperated. She turned over her text messages. Apparently she was getting out of the house. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, and she had driven about 90 miles with passports and $10,000 cash. So wife was leaving. Wife was getting out. Okay, let's continue. Who is this guy? Who is this creepy masked weirdo? What's unusual is everybody that knows him has come forward and knows of him. And this is another thing that reminded me of Butler. And I don't want to, and And I don't want to get to the weirdness, but I'm going to. Not one person that knew him said he was off, that there was something mentally wrong with him, that there was something wrong. He was a nice guy. People have come forward. This is, if you remember, in Butler, this kid, Crooks, was brilliant. He was very bright. People liked him. The press said he was bullied, and the kids came forward and said, no, he wasn't. People liked this kid. He was getting ready to go to college. What is going on? This is the same way. But then when we look at his background, we're going to find, I don't know. It's just bizarre. So when they found, this is the car in the driveway. Now, this is what prompted the cancellation of this. We had down here from our friends in California. They did what was called a No Kings rally against Trump on Saturday, because they said he made an army parade for himself. Now, I'm going to show you all something about that, because I know somebody that has worked up in DC on 250 America for the birthday of America since 2016 on that parade and that event. And that was for the country. That was the kickoff for the America's birthday celebration. We're going to be 250 years old. So the media took an event that's been happening since 2016, or whoever took this event, and made it sound like that Trump made a parade for himself, when that's just not true. So there's just weirdness. So what happened is these notes prompted officials to cancel the No Kings rallies because of the fact, was he going after the attendees at the No Kings rally, or was he a person that was behind these rallies? Nobody knew. So caution to the wind, they canceled. And I think it's a smart idea. Very, very smart. So nobody can still answer that question. I guess he will. Okay. Who knows? It's just got this. Okay. Who is this guy? Let's dig a little bit. Now, remember, Tim Walz is the governor of Minnesota. He ran, if you all recall, he ran with Kamala Harris to be vice president, but he was a governor. He appointed Vance Bolter to a board. What is that? Well, I know exactly what it is, because I know about these things. I know about board appointments, and when the governor appoints people to boards. I work for the state. When a governor gets elected into office, they will have political appointees, and they're appointed to boards. These board appointments usually, not always, but majority of the time, last for the term of the governor. So it's either 4 years or 8 years, but it's basically they put their people in those positions to keep an eye on things. You get appointed to a board because you know him, or you know somebody, or you're a big donor, or you put on big functions, but that's how you get appointed to different boards. But you have to have knowledge in the board that you're getting into. Now, what's funny is he was on some committees with the speaker. Let's think about that. He knew her. Now, did she know him? We can't ask her. But she was head. He was like second in charge of the board. So there's connections are coming in. Okay, so he was appointed under the governor prior to Walz, and then Walz reappointed him. Okay, that's the board. It's not a full-time job. It's something where they meet on certain occasions, and that's what a board appointment is. Now, his wife, Jennifer Bolter, worked as an intern for Tim Walsh when he was in Congress, for the U.S. Congress. Okay, so we've got a connection with them. Now, we've also found out he was, this is where it starts to get a little weird, the CEO of a company called Red Lion Group. It's very hard to trace. The Red Lion Group, he lists it, look, Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, people got into, and I'm surprised they didn't pull down his social media, but now what happens when something like this happens, people are on top of it and they hit their social media right away before they take it down, and I love it because we can glean a lot off of their social media. So he posts 2 years ago, I'm in the Dominican Republic working on several projects, okay? Some of our team will be staying a little bit longer in DC in March, and we're back in the US to connect again with the Dominican Republic of Congo ambassador about how our third trip to the Congo has gone. Well, what is the Red Lion? It's some kind of a food group, some kind of a food company. Now, what's funny is he puts down Dr. Bolter. He's an EDD, so his doctorate's in education. That's a doctor of education. I'll tell you who else is a doctor in education is Jill Biden. She's EDD. She's not a medical doctor. They have their doctorates in education. Here's Red Lion website. Here's their mission in the Congo. Okay, food production. What? Where does this go back to USAID? He was very big into getting people to migrate and come to America, to Minneapolis from Africa. We know that. Was he receiving USAID? I don't know. I don't know that. It's hard to find this out. Okay? Then he comes back from the Congo. Okay? He's looking for a job. Now, who in the world would post on social media that they're looking for a director of operations, a vice president, or president role in a company in food service? Now there are rumors that he was the manager or a district manager of 7-Eleven stores. Okay, 7-Eleven stores. So he comes back from the Congo. His roommate says he was having financial trouble, had to go back to work, but wife goes up and pulls out 10 grand out of the bank, and they purchase a $500,000 spread. Okay, none of this is making any sense, you guys. So he's looking for a job. So he and his wife put together a security company. No employees. They are listed as government contractors. Government contractors, which means that they can apply and get grants. So we're already seeing where we can get grants with food and bringing people into this country. And now we've got a security company that what do they do? Nobody knows. The wife is listed as the president. Okay. This is the home in Iowa that looks like he was converting into a church. Guy multitasks. From what law enforcement have said about this particular gentleman, he stalked his victims. He stalked everybody. He had lists. He looked up where they lived. He had notebooks filled with information on everybody that was in the state government of Minnesota. Everybody. That's it in Iowa. So this is a man that has a $500,000 home, but has financial issues, but yet is buying properties. Something is so bizarre. Okay, so this is what I did, because I did about 20 charts on this, right? And we know how he got caught. We know that the wife, did somebody help him? We don't know that yet. Still investigation. So I did the chart. Now that I know that 2 a.m. was involved, I did the chart beginning up at the senator's home. Okay. So if we look at the chart, and I know it's hard to see, the victims would have been the senator and his wife, Aries. So we're going to look at Mars. That's in the 5th house. They were at their event. 5th house. That's the victims. The victims are the moon up at the 10th house. Okay. The perp is Venus. Somebody associated with him, a group, social circles. I think when the senator gets better and is able to, I think people knew within the government or within social circles or associations knew who this perp was, because it's the 11th house. Now we see that the attack occurred in the home. We see that Mercury, I circled it, that's where the daughter called 911, where he's, look at the red line up to the victims, the moon. Mars is attached to Venus, that's him, and the victims attack. It happened right in front of them. Remember, when anything happens in the ascendant, like Saturn or Neptune, which would have been the cameras, it would happen right in front of the people, because in the ascendant, when the ascendant's involved, it's right in front of them. So we see that plain as day. Plain as day, this attack occurred in the home. It, there we go, by an older man down in the 3rd in the neighborhood. Now, it's funny, Mars represents law enforcement too. So it's just crazy. This chart is crazy, but this whole thing is crazy. So I don't know. This is when the wife got pulled over. Okay. Didn't get anything from that. But look at this. What do you know? What do you know? So I got where, see the blue dot? That's where the senator was shot. The 2 pink dots at the bottom are the other 2 houses that he went to. Sure enough, the line heads us right down to Brooklyn, right where the speaker and her husband were shot. And look at the mileage. The mileage hit exact. So, and his other home, this ranch spread where he went, is to the west. So finally, after about 10 charts and trying to get timestamps, they're starting to hit. So that map, this 2 o'clock map, is a good map to hit, because it showed us that so the reason that the maps and the charts weren't working is because he was driving all over the place with different timestamps that we didn't know about. So Brooklyn Park is where he unalived speaker and her husband, and the line goes, you can see it. I circled Brooklyn Park. It goes right to where they were at the golf course. So that's kind of the info that we know so far. Like I said, he was arrested. They found him. The feds have now taken over jurisdiction of this. They will be handling it. So hopefully we'll get a good investigation out of this and get some more information on this guy, because it's just none of it fits. None of it fits because, of course, it's got to be made political, and that's a shame because this is a very tragic case. And the roommate said, well, he was against abortion, and the roommate just didn't make any sense. He loved the camera too much. And so what's that got to do with the speaker and all that? You know, none of it made sense what this roommate was saying. Maybe they should look at, I hope everybody's looked at. Because he limped when he walked, 57 years old. A lot of people are saying, and now this could be the rumor mill, that the guy on the Ring camera is not the guy that they caught, because he's the perp that they caught's over 6 foot tall. The guy on the Ring camera is about 5'7", 5'8". I don't know how you figure that out because I'm just not good at that. But let's look at the timing of this attack. It happened on the day that an event was planned that was clearly, and I'm going to tell our friends in Canada because they get they don't get our information. And when they do, it's misinformation. But here's the situation to my friends in Canada. America 250 is America's birthday, 250th birthday. People have been talking about this. On the same Saturday that this King rally was planned was our Army, our military's 250th birthday. So the commission decided that they would kick off America 250 because we've got a whole year until July the 4th of next year that they're going to be doing events and things like we had during the bicentennial down here at our 200th birthday. We had events. It was done for the American people. Okay, America 250 is what they were trying to call a King parade, and it was not. They said nobody showed up. Look at this crowd in DC. Yes, they did. It was huge. It was a wonderful parade. About the commission, this commission was put into place in 2016 by Barack Obama. Okay, Rosie Rios is the committee chair. She has been planning this since 2016. Okay, this is 250 America, which they tried to say that it just so happened that it fell on Trump's birthday. Joe Biden signed the permit a year ago to have it on that day. There was no King thing. I don't know where that came from. It was the Army. Here's the organization. It's a bipartisan group of people. And then they tried to say he spent $40 million on it. Let me clarify. Walmart is a sponsor. Coca-Cola is a sponsor. Lockheed Martin is a sponsor. Coinbase is a sponsor, to name a few. Walmart, people have been paying for this. This is America's birthday celebration. And I think what bothered me is the fact that our Army, it was their celebration, their birthday to kick off America 250, got such a bad rap for this, and it simply wasn't true. This was to celebrate America's birthday. So instead of people going to DC and waving flags and enjoying what volunteers have been doing since 2016 to make this great for our country, people are out protesting a lie, a complete bold-faced lie. What is this about? So now I'm jumping more in the rabbit hole. Okay, so let's look at this. This is a fact because Mike Benz knows a lot. He's the utmost expert. Now you got to remember, a lot of stuff has been in the JFK files and all the other files that they are starting to release. Now this is the CIA handbook. Okay, the CIA literally has a handbook on how to start riots and how to overthrow and take down governments. This is in the CIA handbook, okay? In order to create a martyr for the cause, the demonstrators get into a confrontation with authorities and provoke riots or shootings, which may cause the death of one or more persons, who will then become martyrs, and a situation should be taken in advance of immediately against the regime so as to create greater conflicts. It's called the mission of agitating. It's the great government here. It's their book on how to start, how to take down regimes and do terrible things. And I just think it's awful. So that's in their book. And Mike Benz made a good point. So then we find out that our little boy, who I always love to see, he is Nate remember the guy that we had for when he went to all the shelters and stuff, and he was like, hey, our tax dollars are paying for this. And he interviewed all the people that said, yeah, I'm getting free health care, I'm getting a debit card, I'm getting food, I'm getting all of this for free. Well, he went to the King's protests, and sure enough, Nate's got him on video that people were paid. What is going on? I'm going to question this. I'm questioning all of it because of the timing. So did somebody lose their life to out of this? I don't know. I don't know, because none of this is making any sense to me. Is this a conspiracy theory? Hell yes, it's one. It's one I'm making up. But things aren't making sense to me. That 11th house placement shows me that this is somebody that's involved, that knows something is going on. Then we find out that what was publicized and put together and funded by taxpayer money, protest, I don't care. I love protests. I love the freedom of speech, but I don't want my taxpayers to pay, my dollars to pay for it. Go out and do it on your own stuff. Go get your board at Hobby Lobby. Go make your own stuff. And don't take my money and to pay people to go. Something is not adding up with this whole thing. Are they connected? I don't know. Why did the guy have these flyers in his car? Why did this happen at this timing when the whole thing was made up? Like Trump, they tried to make it look like Trump wanted the military in front of him to act like a king when it's America's birthday. None of this makes any sense. Go to, and this is what I'm telling people, go to 250america.org. You will see the planning. You will see all the people that are involved in the planning. What's coming up? July the 4th. It's going to be beautiful this year. They've got all kinds of events planned for the kids, for American citizens, and to kick off this beautiful event, and the media lied about it. Boldface lied about this. The media knows about this event. It's been advertised. We've got a year of this. There's something going on. That's my rabbit hole rant. It's just something isn't making any sense. Is it connected? I don't know. I think is it a coincidence? I don't know. No, I did not hear that. No, this guy, I don't know. I did not hear that. I know he had a security company. I know he's registered as a government contractor to that company. There's no employees. The wife is the CEO. He worked at 7-Eleven. He was a 7-Eleven manager. And he worked at the Gerber factory with somebody in Iowa because the guy said he was his boss. He worked in food. I don't know. Okay, so you guys tell me what. Let's jump in the rabbit hole for the last 5 minutes because it's bizarro world. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me go up through the chat. Kathy. Yeah, Kathy knows. Kathy lives down on the border. They are getting food stamps, money, free insurance, plus free rent for 2 years. Kathy knows. She's down on the border. Yeah. And they're voting. And they get social security numbers. We know that. They've got cards, don't they, Kathy? They got debit cards. Tried to tell us no, they don't. Okay. Oh, here's what's Keith. Keith's going to chime in with some info. What is this, Keith? Here, okay, they're experimenting with 6G now. It directly interacts with the human body. We are the receptor of it. Nothing would surprise me, Keith. People are acting wacky. They got this weird look. They are acting wacky. They're acting wackier than I've ever seen them act. Yes, it's got to watch the news stories on social media now. Many are AI made by people to cause fear and confusion. That's very, very true. You have got to step back from what you're hearing on anything and do your own research. I keep saying this, use your intuition, because that's happening. And this clearly, the 250 America made me mad because I know people that have volunteered and worked very hard, and they were upset over how it was demonized. And they rightfully so. They've put in a lot of work. They've put in a lot of work for the American people, and then to have people out protesting it. Jan, he was put up to it. I don't think he acted alone or without a group. I think so too. I don't think you could pull that off by yourself. Here's another thing, you guys. The roommate said he had. Oh yeah, Jan is so right. The roommate said they had financial trouble. How do you have 5 AKs and have financial trouble? They're 15 grand a piece, and you got a $500,000 home. What? $10,000 cash. He looks like a weasel, and I hope he sings like a canary. Yeah. You know who else sang like is that guy down in Florida? People need to sing. We're in bizarro world. Taxpayers really didn't pay for it at all. No, sponsors are paying for 250 America. Walmart. It's Walmart. It's Jeep. Jeep is also a sponsor. Coca-Cola is a sponsor. Coinbase. There's a ton of sponsors for that, for all the activities, and it's a year out. It's a year celebration for people. Go to 250america.org and you will see the truth. Then we can thank our lovely volunteers that are trying to make it wonderful. I mean, it's the CIA, Keith. They have to know how to do it to be able to control it and how to end it. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, look at that book. Look at the notebook. Look at the notebook. Look at what's coming out on all the unclassified, the D-class. It's horrific. I'm listening, and most of it is they're covering for each other. Agree. Jan, I think W hired him. I don't trust him at all. You know, I don't know. Who knows? I know, and the timing. Let's look at the timing of that bill. I know there was a big fight about that on that bill, and she was crying on an interview, the speaker. Okay, and here's Jan. Yes, ma'am, they are. I live on the border and I have to wait in line at the hospitals for hours. Absolutely. But yet you heard repeatedly, we're not paying for that. We're not paying for that. Yeah, they are paying for that. Same. In a speech, he even admitted he was friends with, okay. Yeah. And you live down there, Jan, so you know, watch them walk out of stores with more food than I can afford. Yeah. Families are getting thousands of dollars of money. 20 million came in, you guys. Yes, to make him look good and for people to get. Is he running again? Is there an election coming up? You guys down on the border, you guys are the ones that have been, you, Kathy and Jan, you guys, I started to see it about 2021. And then when they stopped doing DNA testing on children at the border that came over with unaccompanied with adults and weren't vetting sponsors and just giving children out, I knew there was something wrong. And I've been screaming about that for 4 years. Just look and you will see and hear everything, even too much info. That's none of our business. Yes, it is our business. It's our money. Where did he come in? He may, now that's a trial I am following. I don't think he's singing because I think he thinks he's going to get off. I think he's going to walk. I don't think he's singing because I think he thinks he's going to walk. Yeah, that's true. He's not a good person. But you know what, you guys, he did not, as far as the RICO goes, he did not traffic women. It was men. The government is paying for everything. No, that we are, Kathy, because we pay taxes. We're paying for everything. That's why there was an 8% interest or 8% inflation. I need help with health care and can't get it. Yes, they did. And flights. I'm an Army vet. Libya breaks my heart. Yeah. I love our vets. And, you know, I'm thrilled about the 250 America, Tom, because my son-in-law is a vet. He did 2 tours in Afghanistan, and this is for them. That parade was for you guys, for our vets and my dad who fought in World War II. I watched the parade. It went through colonial days. They had outfits on all up through all the world wars. It was phenomenal. It was a great production. It really was neat. And I'm very proud of our military vets and vets. I love them. 66 billion. At least. I'm sure it's more. I'm sure it's more. It's coming out. It's coming out. That they won't help the U.S. citizens. We could be dying and they don't care. I think that's the mood of the country, my dear. You know, he has no, this whole baby oil thing during the trial is really weird. That's a fact. $50,000 they're having bills to have to clean up hotel rooms. Baby oil. Sorry, Scorpio slipped out. It's true. My husband is disabled and they took his medical. Well, the border's secure now. I was going to say, have him go across the border. He can get everything. Trying everything we can to get it back. Good. Do that. Absolutely do it. That's a shame. I know. That's why 70% of the country is not happy about this. But I'm glad. I wanted to clarify 250 America. Go to 250america.gov. Look at all the great activities that are going to be happening for the year and support our military. That's what that whole event was about. And just for the publicity for a protest when it was done on that particular day as a slap to the military, and I don't like it. I don't like it because my son did 2 tours, and that was 2 years of the hardest times of our lives for my little family. And for people to slap the military in the face, don't get me started, because I'll get mad. It's not fair. And especially if we had to pay for that too. They're investigating who forked the bill for that stuff. I'm all for protesting. I'm all for it. But when all the wrong reasons are done to ruin such a beautiful event, really makes me mad. The only legal people here is us Native. That's true. That's true. Absolutely. That's true. For natives, that's true. But, all my ancestors came in legally. They all came over legally. So, but that's it, you guys. I dig a little bit deeper. Go look America250.gov and spread the word on it, because, a couple people I know that are volunteering, they cannot put on these events without a lot of planning and volunteers. They're not. It's very upsetting to them. But I said, you know what? More people watched this, and more people attended, and more people are not going to not love what has been done for the commission, for us, for the birthday. I think we should all be very appreciative to the time and effort that people have gone through it. So go there, America 250. Look at it's a great website. Gives you all the background, all the information that's been planning since 2016, and get behind it, because it's going to be some great events coming up, and we're not going to let people spoil it. I'm not. I know too many people that have worked very, very hard to help with a successful thing. But this whole timing, think about the timing, and give me your thoughts next week. We've got an old cold case from up in PA. Got a good cold case for next week. That's very interesting as well. But this popped up, and I wanted to show you guys. I wouldn't answer my door. That guy showed up. Are you kidding me? That is so creepy. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? It's not making sense. The math ain't mathing. And I think everybody agrees about that. And I'm not being conspiracy. It's just, it's not adding up. It's not adding up. So listen, you guys, have a great week. Look up 250 America. Get behind it, because it's great events. And there's a lot of, all the states are doing a lot of local things too, because every state's got joined in and contributed as well. So the states are also joining in. So go and look up the information. It's a great website. Get the info. Let's get behind it. And it's for us. It's nonpartisan, and it's a shame that it was made that way, because our army didn't deserve that. You guys, oh, you're so welcome, honey, and be safe. I'm so glad the border is safe now for you guys. I'm so glad that it's safe now, honey, for you and Kathy and Tammy. Boy, you guys had a rough couple of years. I'm glad it's safe. So stay safe. Everybody stay safe. Stay healthy. Have a great week. And we got a good cold case for next week. But thanks a million for tuning in. And I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Thanks a million.